Greetings, everyone. My name is Audrey Kitagawa. I'm the chair of the Board of Trustees of the Parliament of the World's Religions, which had its inaugural convening in 1893 in Chicago, Illinois. This inaugural convening helped to launch the global interfaith movement, which has seen the flourishing of countless interfaith programs, collaborative initiatives, and organizations committed to the paradigm of cooperative engagement among faith traditions, leading guiding institutions, and government and civil society actors around the globe. Women's History Month is an annual declared month that highlights the contributions of women to events in history and contemporary society. To commemorate Women's History Month, the Parliament of the World's Religions is proud to present my interview of Dr. Azza Karam, the first woman Secretary General of Religions for Peace. Dr. Karam exemplifies the importance of women in leadership as powerful agents of transformation in creating the culture of peace, cooperation, and sustainable development arising out of the wisdom of our faith traditions. Please enjoy this interview of Dr. Azza Karam. So thank you so much for joining us today. I think it's just wonderful that you are the first woman Secretary General-elect of the Religions for Peace, a huge international global organization, interfaith organization. So I wanted to ask you what you want others to know about the importance of women in leadership positions.
The beauty of the challenge is that it is a responsibility because it is the wish of others. I feel like I sometimes have to forget the fact that I am a female and instead concentrate on the responsibilities at hand, which are to honor the representativity, the multiple inclusivity, the very different needs and aspirations that a multi-religious movement requires in today's world. In today's world being a very complex geopolitical world. I think that sensibility means that perhaps there is a capacity to be multiculturally competent, or to have a tendency to be more multiculturally competent simply because we're always, or at least I am always looking at these different sensibilities, what's underneath the surface, what is it that moves, that touches, what is it that causes the tear or the laughter. And I think those sensibilities are something that I see in many, many women. That's the sort of the introspective view. But then there is how people see you. And there's kind of no stepping away from the fact that people see you as a woman. And especially when one has to engage with religious leaders who are mostly men in most religious traditions in most parts of the world. The Lord Almighty has created both male and female. And so there is an assumption of parity that the divine itself or himself has when he sees us. So when male religious leaders can see and react to that divine without trying to undermine the sex of the person, I think that speaks beautifully of them. And that's what has touched me most about this opportunity, is that I realized that it took both male and female leaders, faith leaders, to select me. I do believe that, yes, working in this religious space is a little bit like a salmon swimming upstream. But I also think that having come this far, it shows that perhaps the direction of the streams are changing in and of itself. So it's no longer just upstream or downstream. To be a Muslim is to be a servant to the divine. And in so doing, to be a servant to all of the divine's creatures and to observe all of the divine's wisdom and laws. And therein, I think, lies what can unify us as humanity versus what can keep us separated. We can all go to the streets and protest and even bring down a regime. But the what next is our biggest challenge. We know what we need, but how do we actualize it? What are the instruments of transforming a vision to a reality? And I think human history teaches us we need mechanisms. We need institutions, because institutions are the only mechanisms we have that can help us translate our visions, our aspirations into a living, working, breathing reality. And what I would love to be able to do, and what I pray to God to enable me to do, is to serve that infrastructure such that it can most accurately enable these faith leaders. Because in honoring the commitment to live together in peace and to uphold what that peace looks like, in so doing, we transform our universe towards what I believe the divine has asked us to do. I think what we are learning, observing from our current political space, is that the art of divisions is perhaps at its most exquisite. And what religions in general teach us, all religions, is that we cannot exist separately. And I believe that what we need to do is to build on that obligation as people of faith, to honor the faith. And every single faith tells us we must work together. We must come together. We must be one, because we are created from the one. I think what we're talking about specifically here is a globalization of greed. And that I believe is also the other side of the coin of believing that we can simply depend on ourselves as human beings. We've got it all, we can do it all. We need nothing beyond our own brains and capabilities and sense of self-confidence and whatever. I think that removal of the divine from within, the globalization of that, I believe, is the problem that is part of the reason why we are confronting this. And I believe that, of course, it is important to understand that the divine in us is capable of everything, but capable of everything that honors the divine in the other. And that's why some of the most powerful mobilization that we're seeing in the last few years has been around the climate, around the environment, that comes from the religious spaces, because that it's almost a let's go back to what the divine ordains and needs of us. And that divine calls upon us to respect that life and the sanctity of the life that it has. And that if I don't do that, I don't respect this sanctity, let alone that of someone else. I dream of a movement that is borderless in terms of nation, creed, ethnicity, race, gender, any division. I dream of a movement that is empowered by the faith, by the very faiths themselves, but faiths that are united in their ability to see the divine as one throughout. And I think this work on honoring our environment needs to continue and be supported. It would be great to see an even wider interfaith movement for all aspects of the environmental needs. We need to be seen as a multi-faith movement dedicated and committed to respecting the freedom of each and every one of us to believe, to have their faith in their religion, to practice the religion in peace, to manifest their religious practice in peace in ways that can honor one another, and the freedom of conscience, the freedom to dissent. I believe that work on gender justice, women's empowerment, young people's enablement to be better servants to their own dreams and aspirations together across their faith traditions, I believe that is absolutely transformative. And that needs to continue, and Religions for Peace has a legacy and a heritage in supporting that too. I would like to see Religions for Peace catalytic to the service to multilateralism, catalytic to the transformation of civic societies towards the service of the human rights of all. Those are my dreams.
Thank you so much, Dr. Karam. This has been a very enlightening conversation with you, and I appreciate the time that you have taken to share your vision and hopes for not only Religions for Peace, but for the all-important sleeping giant that will be awakening and is awakening as civil society towards multilateral engagement. And we definitely wish for Religions for Peace, the Parliament of the World's Religions, United Religions Initiative, that we will all participate in this movement and to be catalysts for change. And I so appreciate your expressing the importance of values and our commitments to coming out of our lens of insularity towards the dilation of our global lens of engagement, and for your being able to share about solidarity, and in this especially very difficult times that we face, in the creation of borders and identities that cast it in a way of us versus them, and the importance of always remembering the sacred in all of life, in all sentient beings, and that we are instruments of service to the divine within each and every one of us.
We love you, and we're going to be with you, Azza, as our new Secretary General.